Anything that we say today applies to anyone who works.
Any working father.
It challenged all those things that I used to do.
In your mind, you say, oh no, it's a phase, a couple of months or weeks, and I'm going to go back to my old life. I definitely can hand on heart say that my life is so much better.
Matt, here we are.
Hi.
We've met over I wouldn't say over a coffee actually. Today we've met over a coffee.
Over kids jumping.
Yeah, that's it. We were at kids' party, birthday party, and we're talking deeply about this whole filmmaking daddy stuff.
Yep.
It's a whole new world for us, a beautiful one, a struggling one. But now actually we found a bit our pace. You know, we're in a better, I would say, at least for me, I'm in a better position, much better position than I was when my kid was born, you know.
Yes,
that
yes.
was all new. What about you?
No, I mean, having a kid is a total change in life, no? And it took us a while to obviously adjust to the fact that now we've got this human being while still trying to work in our world of film, you know.
With all those hours. And you
Yes.
said world of film. By the way, Matthew Muscadrago, filmmaker,
Hi.
we were discussing what kind of title we're going to give to each other because we don't really know. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we are editors, sometimes we're producers, sometimes we're directing. So it's part of the package of a solo filmmaker, I would
So
say.
that's our final words to describe ourselves. No, but the thing is, so just a super quick background on where I came from and what I was doing. So, as in, I service the film world, but the film world in many facets. So there's the sort of film servicing where I would be hired as a camera operator most of the time, and there's the local film world that has many different branches. So from the commercial to the corporate to the music video sector through theatre as well. There's a nice blend of different filmmaking related projects. But obviously, you spend years building it and building it and building it. Then you meet your partner. Then that takes more importance. But I always joke with my now wife that it took 10 years for me to realize that family is more important because it took our child to be born, not my wife not my wife.
Totally, I understand that. And before, when it was just me and Dylan and my wife, it was like we're both ambitious, and yeah, let's work, let's have fun, let's travel. Went to so many countries. It was beautiful. So if I want to wake up at 7 a.m. or 5 a.m., I'm still naturally, I'm a morning person, right? Myself.
I'm the total opposite.
By the way, that was challenged, Matt. I'll get back to that soon. It was challenged in a huge way. However, I operate best in the morning, and I used to wake up at 5, get to the office by 7, do my stuff, go back at 5 or 6. Nobody tells me anything, it was all smooth. And there it is. As I said, we traveled a lot and stuff like that. But the moment that George came, my son, it was so emotional. But it was also a shock when it comes to work. Because here we're about to talk about the work aspect mostly. So it challenged all those things that I used to do. But would you say that nowadays you're in a better place? You're still struggling? You're still learning? Because I'm still learning. Definitely.
No, I mean you learn. You continue to learn all the time. But I definitely can hand on heart say that my life is so much better once Timmy, our son, was born. Basically,
Totally.
Because again, a child puts life into perspective. No, so
Totally.
let's rewind back before you and I had children. Essentially. You know how it is, like you're at the beck and call of any client, any phone call, you're always on call sort of thing. I remember taking phone calls, sometimes there would be very, very particular clients that would call at 10 at night for a non-issue. And I remember
it was normal kind of, we're used to it.
It was like the creative world, that your phone calls happen at random places because sometimes you get an idea at 11 at night and you need to...
Of course. It's our industry anyway.
Completely.
It works like that.
So I remember Tim being born, and obviously you've got the aspect of sleepless nights initially, because you've got a newborn in the house. And that already starts to, in your mind, you say, oh no, it's a phase, it's going to be a couple of months or weeks, and I'm going to go back to my old life. That's obviously not the case, because you have to experience something. It's something totally new.
Which keeps on adapting itself, you know, it keeps on
Completely,
changing.
completely.
So, yeah, and at first I thought it was for the first month. Then it gets better. Then sleep regression. Then your sleep regression also.
No, it's I have this really clear, strong memory where it couldn't be like it was almost a metaphorical moment somehow, but we obviously know your due date, no?
Yeah,
a couple of
yeah.
well, in theory,
Yeah.
a couple of months before, like, okay, he's going to be due in around October. Okay, great. And I had been given my first offer to shoot, to be a director of photography, basically on a full feature film.
Wow.
And the television series for the Norwegian market.
Wow.
So it's not only, so the layers, it was not only local, it was international, and it was my first full out production, no? And I remember knowing that we were going to have a child, declining this project completely. I said, listen, I need to focus. But you know, you feel like, should I have said no?
It's a whole team that,
and I remember I said no. You know, and life goes on, weeks go by. And I get a call again from the same production company. Are you, like, we haven't filled in the role. Are you still interested? And I'm like, God, it's a sign. So,
And you went for it?
So I went for it with a very, very strict condition, because
All right.
basically they wanted to shoot the television series, let's say, like, it was around in August, and the feature film right after. Timmy was going to be born basically in between both
way.
productions. So what I did
painful.
is I shot the television series almost till the end, and I got a replacement director of photography to fill in the last week.
Yeah.
While I'm on standby for Timmy to essentially come out. Thankfully, you know, he was born. And I have an amazing photo of me on the first, second, or third night of him being at home, with him on my chest, that tiny, and the feature film script prepping. I was prepping for the feature film script. So I said, since I can't sleep at night, because he was obviously crying.
Course.
I was using that time to prepare for this big new experience.
And this is one of the key, actually, most valuable advice you can give, actually. Because first I was like, I need to concentrate. All right, so I need to have the perfect setup, be at the perfect time to work. But when you have a kid, when you have a baby, you can't choose your time. Most of the time, you have to, you know, grab the moment you have, whenever it is, if it's at night, if it's in the middle of the night, if it's in the morning, and grab that moment and focus. If you have 2 hours, you have to do good 2 hours. And what you're saying, it aligns exactly to this whole thing that, you took the opportunity to have your baby newborn.
Yes, this time.
In the, what do you call it, Palestine?
I forgot my case was literally, I was so tired, it was in bed,
literally.
just placed on my chest, and you know, with my leg up with the tablet, and there I am reading sort of, reading this script at the time.
Yeah.
But no, I think you do, like what you're saying, when you do have a child, your time is very precious. So you want every hour in your day to be incredibly useful and incredibly efficient and incredibly productive. So, and I think that's one of the bigger life changes that Timmy made me realize how I should be utilizing my time. So you procrastinate less, or you try to.
You couldn't have said it better, honestly. It's all about that. Time is so precious. We got to learn now. Before we had all the time, and sometimes I say to myself, how didn't I do anything else? Because I was so free. I didn't know it. I thought I knew it, but now it's now that I know it. You know, going back to what you said before, definitely that children show you a whole new world. How you want to prioritize. What's the priority in life? Family. I think we both have that value, you know,
definitely
of appreciating family, wanting to spend time with the kids. That at the moment I'm working, I would say from 9:30 till 3 at most. But I know that I have that time, and you do that. You know, you do the most that you can in that limited time to a certain extent.
Definitely.
So yeah, priorities. It's like a full circle now, where you're not just excited because of work, right?
No, it's true. Before your high or at least my high would have been, great, we did this amazing shoot, let's plan the next one. Or your high would be buying a new camera, and playing with it. But I think, actually, I'm remembering something about the camera. When I had bought my next workhorse camera, it was also in the time when Timmy was born. And I remember so clearly where before, the package comes in from DHL or whatever, and you open it there and then you set it up. It stayed in the box unwrapped. Still wrapped for around 1 or 2 weeks. And I look back, I'm like,
how come?
What has happened? I'm changing. But like the I can't even stress enough on how much a child really puts into perspective. Now, mind you, that doesn't mean everybody has to have a child. Maybe people can't, or people struggle to have children as well.
Of course, definitely.
It's but at least my experience, at least a child, in our case, it's kind of like when you have a pet to a certain extent, as in you've got this other breathing creature in your house. No, it's automatic. You can't say, let me go abroad for a week. Your mind has to think about the dog.
I would say it was the first parenting experience for us. Honestly,
totally.
Dog. Honestly, it's what made us actually make the next step and get an actual human. Smart. We're doing parenting. We're parenting this dog. With a lot of commitments. Might as well get
go
the next step. No, obviously it's much harder. It's much harder. But today we're not here to just talk about the struggles. We're here to encourage any father out there who's a filmmaker, because we're filmmakers.
Yes.
And today, by the way, I mean, maybe it's not a filmmaker who's watching at the moment.
It's true.
So anything that we say today applies to anyone who works.
It goes across any working father.
Today is about that, but let's give a huge shout out.
Hi, Mar.
To any moms out there who to the work they do. Because what they do, we don't experience.
No, and I think, at least sort of for me, Maria was literally the backbone to be able to also continue our business, because Maria works with me as well in the marketing sphere of what we do.
That's nice.
And that was actually part of the big reasons why we joined forces, to have our work-life balance, and to have control on our work-life balance.
And it's a whole new world.
Completely.
It's a whole new world. Having your wife and yourself depending on that income, and
in it's like a singular place.
Exactly.
No, but I suppose, and also it has its pros and cons. You have to be really careful to not discuss work all the time. There has to be some form of sense of a cutoff, but that's where then the sun comes in. That's what makes you break the thought. But back to the sort of, at least Maria, there was no way we could have continued to also generate an income if she wasn't there at the forefront to lead the caring of Timmy in her early days, in the first few months.
It was a huge topic for us because Elena has a really good job also. She was always very ambitious. She works as a doctor, and obviously she had to stop climbing the ladder.
Of course.
Which pays her well, to rely solely for a whole year on my income, which I must say it wasn't as much as her income at that time. Nowadays we shifted things, and I would say I'm in a good position. So Elena's taking care of the son, but that by itself is also a huge thing that was on my shoulders, because I'm still working, I'm still going out there, I'm still doing other stuff than parenting. For Elena, it wasn't the case. So now that you're working together, how do you juggle this issue?
I know what you mean. The thing is, you just learn how to make it work. I mean, in our case as well, Maria was always working after her other job for many years. So sort of, we also had this. We always worked together, just maybe unofficially sort of thing. It was like she had her marketing job with another firm. She would finish her work, and then at night we would meet before we even were. As in, obviously, I lived with my parents, she lived with her parents. So until we got married, essentially we were, apart. So even that aspect was tough.
Of course.
Like, you're trying to already start to work together creatively, but you don't even live in the same house together. But I suppose then the shift. I think the shift was just obvious. Again, I continue to stress on how much a child changes your life. So priorities become very clear, rather, and I think your tolerance to non-issues shrinks with the film world. No, there's this feeling always that it's like the world is going to end for any minor inconvenience. Let me give you an example. So when you're working up the ladder in the film sphere, especially in the camera department, no, you'll be a camera trainee at start. You're the guy making coffees. You're the guy assisting where you can, but you are the lower part of the chain. And a relatively integral part, but you're there to get slapped on your face all the time, sort of thing.
And especially in the film industry.
No, and the way it is. But when you go up the ladder, and now I am a camera operator on the international circuit, sort of. You know, in theory, you should be respected more because you've built that you've done your hard bit, sort of thing. But it doesn't mean the environment around you still not, let's say, not cold, sometimes right? Even toxic, depending on the heads of the department. Right. Because you can have lovely human beings that are almost sometimes even father figures within the film. You can tell who has children and who doesn't.
In fact, I was going to ask you, do they care?
It's not always an easy answer. They don't always care. So very clearly, a very clear and simple example, schedules constantly change.
Yeah.
Weather, especially if you're shooting outside, weather is always an issue. So sometimes an actor gets sick, or whatever. So when you're committed to a film shoot, which can last a number of weeks, unfortunately, you are at their beck and call. Although you're working Monday to Friday, you are essentially need to be on call 24/7 because things will change. But they don't always respect the fact that you are a family man. It's almost like a bit of a taboo in the. Excuse me. It's a bit of a taboo in the industry somehow that you almost have to hide the fact that you're a family person. You need to show a sense of I'm 100% here, etc. But in the beginning, even when Tim was born, I was still doing that. But then as time goes by, and when you've got this little human growing, you're speaking to him, you're having amazing conversations, and you see the excitement in his eyes, and you're like, why was I always panicking on film sets to be so at their beck and call? And now I very strongly almost send a message directly that to anybody who calls at 10 p.m. at night. I'm not answering the phone, just like there are boundaries, no?
Matt, let's talk about boundaries.
There we go. It's nothing. So unless you are a doctor literally saving somebody's life, no?
There's nothing more important.
If it's not that, if a commercial has to come out 3 days later,
what's the big deal?
What's the big deal? There is unfortunately this mentality in the music sphere in Malta and the commercial sphere in Malta that we have to release it, 1st November. I'm like, nobody's really waiting for your release, specifically on that date.
True.
The viewership is so small that if it came out 3 days later, it's still going to have a similar impact, no?
What I realized is, through this whole parenting thing, is that some deadlines aren't even real deadlines.
No, not at all.
So they're a deadline for another deadline, just to meet another deadline at some point. You know what I mean? So why shall I stress, not see my son for some reason, or miss out a concert or something, which I didn't do, by the way.
Yes.
But why shall you do that? To abide to a deadline of somebody else, when, strictly speaking, that deadline can be adjusted. Now, to be fair, I've set boundaries, clear boundaries. I always decided to explain myself, and whoever doesn't abide to that, whoever doesn't understand that, I decided to just let go. Because in my opinion is that whoever doesn't understand the father, in this case, or a mother, he might be lacking a bit human priorities.
Yes.
The people out there, the industry, has to understand me and understand my boundaries. And to be honest, most of the time, it was cool. It was cool with people. And see, they started talking about their thing. They loved it,
Exactly.
It's so important. It's so important.
I mean, and I mean, I don't want to sound like we're sort of only saying the negative of the industry, because most people get you.
Totally.
So most people
Totally.
will understand. Unfortunately, sometimes it's the people that sort of don't understand. Sometimes it's because they are so inundated with their own stresses that they don't have space to be a human again.
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
tends to happen when you're dealing with productions which have budgets in excess of whatever, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 5 million, 10 million when you're going on the international circuit. But similarly in the local sphere, the commercial sector, usually budgets are in the 10 to 30K region. It is still a lot of stress, no?
Yeah.
So I can understand people's stresses, but there's kind of a way and a way. I always feel that there's a way and a way to deal with people, no? So no matter how stressed you are, that leave it contained within your being.
Totally.
And try and convey calm to
Exactly.
the rest. This is like
Which is one of the skills you have to learn.
it's totally
One of the biggest skills, I would say.
and it's with any industry. My father works in human resources and has done so for the past 35 years, and his work ethic was always sort of like quite literally that you are managing people. It's not about the paycheck sort of thing,
True.
but you're managing
People,
the human
beings
the
with their
human being.
problems, with their excitement,
With
and
their
everything,
whole,
yeah.
and,
ambitions.
and I learned a lot from my father on this aspect, and I always apply it to how I work. In fact, that's the reason why I sort of set up this Musca Drago Productions idea. It was stemming from the human condition that I didn't like on film sets.
All right, interesting.
Back in 2000, I think it was 2000 and probably 12, something like that, or 13. Somewhere there. Assassin's Creed had shot in Malta.
Yeah.
This huge film. I forgot the main actor's name, but it was this big move, where I was this camera trainee.
Wow.
I remember going home, crying every single day because the aura around you was so cutthroat. You were just a number, just serving a bigger cog, but you felt like you were just a number, and that was a deciding factor in the back of my head. I didn't know what it was going to be yet. That I wanted to create my own thing.
True.
Just to be able to hire people and create the environment that I would have wanted to be in. And that's what that's why I'm here now 10 years later doing my own thing, because I wanted to create this positive aura around me that no matter what we're doing, at the end of the day we're
working with other humans.
working with other
It's
working with other humans, and we're very blessed to be getting paid to doing something creative.
Of course.
So why should we be stressed?
Appreciative.
Totally. And that has been my work ethic from a while ago. Sort of before my success in inverted commas of working with different clients. But it's amazing how the human. Okay, you have to be skilled, no. But more than anything, you have to be a pleasure to work around.
True.
If you are annoying to be around, or you have this aura of sort of look at me and you don't listen, nobody would want to work with you.
Especially in a small market like Malta.
Totally.
I mean, you have to attract creative people who aren't big-headed, by the way.
Totally.
Who understand you, even if they're younger, explain it.
Totally.
But yeah, today we're here to inspire anyone who aims to eventually become a dad, or is a dad at the moment that is struggling. It is hard, don't worry, but you'll get through it, and you'll end up in a much better place than before, I would say. Matt, any practical tips you actually use? In my case, for example, I use a lot the focus modes on my phone.
Okay.
So I schedule the time that people can reach me and stuff like that. Do you have any practical tips, similar tips that...
I wish I have more concrete practical tips. That's a good one, though. No, I am trying my best to... I think the biggest distraction is a phone, no? That's when you need to focus on and edit a proposal, anything.
The phone is always there.
The phone is always on.
A call is always, there. A message is always there to reply.
My focus mode, although I wouldn't recommend it to everyone, but it might work for people. Since I am more of a night owl in general, I tend to just do a lot of work now I still do at night. Usually I put Timmy to sleep, as in my wife puts Timmy to sleep, but I always make sure I prepare him for bed kind of thing. And while Maria's putting Timmy to sleep, I usually spend that last hour to be productive again,
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
know the phone won't ring.
Exactly.
Unless you are a client that calls at 10 p.m. at night. But so for me, unfortunately, that's the only way I can escape the noise, because I always have this concern of like turning off my phone because if there's an emergency with family or something like that.
Yeah. But you can choose those.
But I need to
You can
just
actually
make it.
specify, listen, during focus, let's say editing time.
Exactly.
Filmmakers, right? So editing time or filming time. All right, I can take calls of my wife, from my grandparents.
Exactly.
You know, and not my kid because he doesn't have a phone.
Not
Yeah.
for a while.
So, and my brother, let's say, because of work.
Exactly.
So that worked perfectly for me. Mentioning that time where, you're just away from all the noise, that's beautiful. For me, it's in the morning, however. So I still need to make a sacrifice because obviously after a night which can be interrupted by your boy or girl, you have to still wake up early. I don't always do that. I don't always show up
Yes.
at 4:30 or 5 a.m. Sometimes you don't manage, but when you can, just before, where everything's quiet, before all the noise starts, before WhatsApp starts putting out notifications out there, where you need to reply to all the people.
Exactly.
That's the best, most productive moment ever. And if you manage, to get that time, it's just beautiful because you manage to produce a lot and be so productive in a short
I mean,
time.
exactly. So bottom line, exactly. As fathers, at least I've learned to be more hyper-focused. So whatever time I do have, I am more productive than the way I was, because before, you procrastinate. You say, you do have an hour, let me go on Facebook. I remember very randomly, I would be editing, I would have to drag and drop an effect, which takes 10 seconds. I've already flipped tab to go on Facebook, for example, all the time.
Or go look for a plugin, a cool plugin, or anything. YouTube, or something like that.
Exactly. And I think obviously that when your time is so precious and limited, you want to be there for when he comes and asks you to play with him. Unfortunately, the pros and cons of being a solo filmmaker, like we're saying, you have to wear many hats. You have to wear many hats, and you're always on because you are the business owner. So our office is at home. The time when we were looking for a house, I remember we bought it with the intent that the entrance of the house had office quarters.
All right, I understand.
So it's like part of the same house. But the disadvantage of that is that you never really clock out. Because it's right there. I'm rendering something. Let me go and check if it's done.
So it's a bit difficult to differentiate between family time and work time.
To fully differentiate. I mean, for me, the beauty of it is when you've got, let's say, you're filming a concert and you're done at midnight. The beauty of it is that you just came home, you dumped your cards already backing up, and you went to bed. So it's like, the pros and cons of everything. But back to you again, back to your question about sort of tips on how you can focus. I think the simplicity is just to be present in whatever scenario you need to be present for. So you're present for work when you need to be present. But the moment family needs you and you need to be present for that, switch off, and so that's one of the main points. And the simplicity is just be a kind human being, because that then channels through the aura of even when you're with your son or with your daughter. True. So if your day is approached with positivity, excitement, laughter, then you still have the energy to show up at home. And I've got a thing that for me, because I said you're a morning person and I'm a night person. So when I wake up in the morning, I am very quiet at home. The moment I see the first crew member, it's like a switch. People then give me energy to work. And then I'm hyper mode for the whole day.
And that energy is translated at home. That's it.
Yes.
So, by the way, I have to rush and conclude this conversation, this beautiful conversation, which I want to keep on, going for another hour. But I have to rush to pick up my son from school. I told you I work till 3:30. Today, not even, because it's raining. Anyway, use your time well. You might lose a bit momentum when you're a father. That's okay. You will gain that momentum. And as you were saying, as I realized over time, at first I thought that having a kid, he's the only priority, and I would put work a bit aside for a time. But something was missing. that creative energy. And if you do well at work, you go back with double the energy you had in the morning. So with double the energy at home, because your creative human being is fulfilled also.
Yes.
So there's that nice balance. To your wife, by the way, also. So it's nice to show up to your wife in your best form possible.
Exactly.
So, as we said in the beginning of this conversation, this whole conversation was about inspiring you if you want to become a dad, if you're a dad, if you maybe have something else, you're not a dad and you have something else, which is taking your priority. Anyway, use your time well, even if you have limited time. Focus. As we said, it's one of the great benefits that we learned, how to hyper-focus. Align your focus, even your life focus and purpose, as they say, even though it's a bit cliche, but it's so true. And have a mix of everything, because at the end of the day, that's the beautiful of life. It's emotions, which you'll go through a lot. I used to cry even if I hear a Disney song, So yeah, I think being emotional is part of this filmmaking thing, So yeah, live life. If it's on the emotional part of things, if it's on the human being, being a human being, showing up, being responsible, even obviously setting boundaries, fine, but you still need to be committed to your commitments, with clients. At the end of the day, you'll end up being a better human being, I would say.
Definitely.
Matt, it was just beautiful to listen to you speaking about the subject. We had this conversation casually at a kids' party. I told you that you'll end up here. You're the first one actually that made it to Video Covers podcast. Thank you very much for coming.
Thanks, Matt.
And I have to rush to go pick up my son. All right. Cheers, brother.
Thanks, Matt.
Take care. Good luck for everything.
You too.
Ciao, man.